Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast. It is a great Wednesday evening here in Lexington, Kentucky for episode number 481. And this is Steven Zimmer broadcasting. And joining me just shortly in just a few minutes is the vivacious, loquacious, and audacious Holly Phillippe. But as you know, she's always, getting ready right about showtime. So she'll be on just in a couple of minutes here. And it looks like the chat room is getting some folks in already. And welcome to everybody that's coming in. Of course, we take comments and questions from the chat room. And the first in tonight was Ava Vertris. Yes, Ava made it just a hair before Carol Preflatish, award-winning author, screenwriter, and we'll be mentioning Carol again in a second. Yes, we will.
Hey,
And
Steven,
Dan Clef said third. Yes, it looks like Holly is on the air.
Steven, who
Yeah.
who the hell is Ava Vertris? You mean Eva?
Yes. Okay, so
I was like, who the hell's Ava?
well, you can
That's a
pronounce
good
it
one.
that way. It is possible. So,
Well, it is possible. Yeah.
my brain kicks in when I as far as the pronunciations go, because yes, you can pronounce it two ways, and I always pronounce it that way.
You were just trying to give it a flourish, wasn't you? You just trying to be bougie. Yeah.
There you go. Right. Yes, as you hear, folks, yes, Holly has joined us. She made it on. So, but of course, and Dan Clefstad, before Holly interrupted me there, I was going to say Dan Clefstad was third. So, yes, once we get prizes, not here yet, but once we get prizes for the show, yeah, you guys would have won an awards. But unfortunately, we don't have any great prizes yet for the first in the room. But yes, Dan and Eva are the co-hosts of Vamp Chat with Dan and Eva. Of course, a great podcast on Podbean with just amazing episodes. And they just completed a big adventure with Dacre Stoker out in Virginia this past weekend. So I think we're going to hear about that a little bit more coming up with our guest. So hang on tight because, we're going to go over a few of those things here just shortly. And let's see. We got a lot of updates, Holly, because I'm telling you, every week it just... It stayed busy. It has stayed
never quits.
Fiercely busy. So, I mean, I actually do have some cool announcements to add tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the scoop because I mentioned earlier that Carol Preflatish was going to be mentioned again. And so I would like to thank her on the air. We're going to be doing a big post on this, of course. But she just came aboard as one of the Imaginarium individual patrons. Yes, those individual sponsorships are really helpful to us, and we are very, very grateful. Thank you very much, Carol. And yes, you help us grow and raise more awareness, and we will do our best to deliver you the best year yet in our 13th year in 2026. And while we're on that theme, I'll update you on a lot of new folks that we've added as far as officially. Some names you have not heard yet at Imaginarium, brand new folks.
Very few. Yeah, they'll say there's quite a few you've not heard.
Some that are going to be favorites of yours, and then a couple that are returns after a few years. So this is pretty cool.
They're going to be in for a shock.
Yeah, I think they are. But Imaginarium 2026 is welcoming author, filmmaker, podcaster, and screenwriter, and an award winner at that. Dwan Elhern. Yes, that is the same Dwan that we refer to as the Moon of Sacco podcast. And then also we have author, publisher, and book blogger Linda Rees coming back. I'm very excited, for have both of them. They're both amazing individuals. Then we also announced spotlighted guest Santiago Cirillo. And he's incredible. Actor, screenwriter, filmmaker, podcaster, and he is also an author. And he is big in the field of raising mental health awareness.
And you could see him in, I believe, what do I want to say? Don't quote me on it. Season 6, I want to say.
Season 4.
Of Season 4 of The Walking Dead. Mm-hmm.
Walking Dead, yes. He played Julio in The Walking Dead and was also in the series Nashville. And he's a podcaster with Hiya Nation. And then he was also in the TV show 24 Hours in Hell, A Paranormal Journey Through Hell House. So, he's also in that TV show as well. And he used to build guitars for Gibson. He made guitars for Chet Atkins, Lenny Kravitz, all kinds of big names. I mean, he was a custom guitar maker for some of the stars down
And
there at
and
Gibson.
he brings such a energy to Imaginarium.
Yes,
It is so so uplifting, and you can hear him. He's like me. You hear him before you see him. You always know Santiago's in the building.
yes, you do.
I
You
love
do.
him.
He's great, and we just printed up our first batch of promo cards for Imaginarium, which are going to be going out here shortly. We're going to be hanging out with Dan and Eva at Scarefest here coming up
We
shortly. We're
get
going to
to
have
be the Vamp Chat
yes,
crew.
we are
Woo-hoo.
part of the Vamp Chat crew, and we're going to have these new Imaginarium postcards that do have Santiago on them. Yeah, he's one of the
Aha.
featured guests on the postcards. Yeah, he is a stellar guest. And also on these cards, it is a brand new name at Imaginarium. Spotlighted guest, content creator, paranormal investigator, and urban explorer and preservationist Vince Kellyan. And this guy is
Yeah.
really cool. And one of the cool things about him is that he's got a real close tie to Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and he actually manages their social media channels and gives tours there as well. At that, of course, that's a hugely famous place for the paranormal investigation
And
world.
and
Yep,
he's going to be a guest on the show in a couple of weeks. And
yep. Hmm.
and me and Miss Eva, not Ava, Eva
Uh-huh.
Vergis, we're going to be spending the night there November
Yes, you
1st.
are. Yes, you and Eva, not Ava, are going to be very shortly. And I should mention though, November is perfect timing for Vince because he has a new TV show on the Beacon TV streaming network called Urban Investigator that is launching. So yeah, that's a great new thing that's happening with him. And by next summer, hopefully everybody knows all about that series. And then, of course, we have the one and the only, and yes, of course, he'll be doing our Christmas Eve show because Christmas Eve actually falls on a Wednesday this year. So, of course,
Woo!
we're not going to do it on Christmas Eve, so we'll do it on Christmas Eve, and of course, that'll be Tommy B. Smith will be our guest co-host with myself and Holly, and he is, of course, coming back, award-winning author, one of an absolute favorite of so many people at Imaginarium, and yeah, he's a legend. And then, of course, another favorite who we all love is author, graphic designer, artist, podcaster, and comic creator Sako Toomey. I love saying that name, Sako Toomey. Yes, it's fun to say that, Sako. Yeah, it is so fun to say that name. And coming back, she has not been Imaginarium since 2019, and
Yeah.
I am excited to welcome
Oh,
back New York Times and USA Today best-selling romance author and publisher J.M. Madden. Yeah, she is phenomenal, and she gives her workshops are
phenomenal
absolutely fantastic.
workshops.
I mean, she gives
I can't
great
wait.
workshops. I mean, they are just truly top tier writing workshops. So you can count on that happening at Imaginarium.
Yes.
I'm so happy to have her back. She is such a great guest to have. And yeah, it's been a few years. So she's in for a treat because yeah, we've grown a lot the last few years, and I think she's going to love it. So I can't wait to hear what she thinks. Then we also welcome back author and blogger Elisa Childress, who I've had the pleasure of working with as an editor. And I can tell you, very talented writer, and very excited to have her back as a panelist. And then also costume historian and pattern drafter and designer, Dr. Constance Spots is returning back. And yeah, she is, I mean, she is amazing. She used to, work at the Smithsonian and now curates and guides at a museum out in Iowa. And I mean, she just knows her stuff. And last year, I believe it was a topic on Victorian era clothing that
Yes.
she gave.
Yes.
And yeah, absolutely incredible. And then we also had welcome back the author Dave Creek. We love Dave. Great science fiction
Yay.
author. Yeah, we always we always love seeing Dave out at events in this region. And then also author and book blogger Kathy L. Brown is coming back as a panelist, and I've had the pleasure also of working with her as an editor, and yeah, another superbly talented author. But that's quite a list there of updates, and we're not done, Holly, because today, just shortly before the show, we actually opened up for the Marathonarium 4 Premium Short Story Workshop. It's now open for signups. Barely got the information out. We already had 2 of the 18 spaces claimed, so I was going to say there's 18 available, but now there's 16 available.
That was quick.
But it is a workshop where the story that comes out of it is non-exclusive. So you get to use it like right away after it's edited, polished, and ready to go for publication. You can use it for whatever project you want, but it is also featured in our Marathonarium anthology, and this will be the 4th volume of that. But it's a writing and short story workshop that is hosted by yours truly. I serve as the editor and workshop host for this, and the workshop takes place. It's kind of the kickoff for Imaginarium. It really is. It's takes place on the Thursday night. It takes place on Thursday. It'll start about 5 p.m. At the Holiday Inn Louisville East, and it runs about 3 hours, but it involves a writing session and a short story workshop. And then after that, we work with all the authors throughout the year to develop their stories, polish them up, and then get this anthology out before next year's Imaginarium. And so, yeah,
And you do not have to be a published author to
nope,
enter
not
into
have to
this.
be
We've had
published.
authors. This is their first publication.
Yep. We've had authors who've been published many times over participate, and then we've had authors where this represents their first publication. And let me tell you, the first 2 volumes, first one was edited by Sandy Lender, and check it out. It's just, I mean, and the second volume was yours truly, and had a few more authors than year one. I've allowed a bigger class. I'm willing to take on a few more. It is a workload, but they are great showcases of writing. I mean, it's all genres, and it's a real showcase of various writing styles and voices, and I love it. I mean, I have a blast doing it. So yeah, I'm back for the 3rd time. Sandy did it in year 1 and was the founder of the Marathonarium Workshop, and so I always love to give her a big shout out. And so that's actually a good segue, though. Yeah, so go on to the site tonight if you want to claim one of those spots. You can do so right now. First come, first serve for those remaining 16 spots. But I'm going to come aboard right now and give tonight's sponsors, because that's a good segue. We mentioned Sandy, and she is one of the sponsors for tonight's show, along with the amazing Ren Garcia. But we're going to go ahead and give you a little bit of info about Sandy, and then Ren, and then we will get to our featured guest of the evening. But here's a little bit about Sandy.
Start Chamber listeners already know that author Sandy Lender offers you a variety of spec fiction and epic fantasy adventures to help you escape reality. Did you know she also offers positive, quirky book discussions and reviews on her BookTube channel, Sandy Says Read? Check out the Sandy Says Read channel on YouTube for over 600 book chats to entertain you. The channel includes the Indie Book Spotlight and the DIY for Creatives playlists, along with others to help you find videos and essays that pique your literary interests. Subscribe for free to the Sandy Says Read channel in time for the Monday night upload, and join the community where our motto is, you can always find something good in a book.
Thank you, Sandy. As always, you are amazing. And of course, what's also amazing is Ren Garcia. And I am talking to him about just coming to hang out next summer, folks. So hold on. We might be making some headway with Mr. Garcia to get him out of Ohio and down to Kentucky. So here's a little bit from Ren.
The League of Elder dares to be unusual. It's easy to be swept away in this bold and uninhibited landscape where fantastic heroes become old friends and sinister villains inhabit every dark corner. Dare to explore things best left alone. Each book is your lantern, lighting the path to a world never before seen. So what do you say? Are you weird enough for us?
Absolutely, Ren.
Yes, Ren, you are definitely, and Moon says that he needs to prove to us he's weird enough for us. Yes, Ren, that's your challenge. You come to Imaginarium because a lot, like Mr. Moon's not met you yet. You come and meet these people and see if you are weird enough for them. That's the question.
That's the question. But hey, we are right on time for our guest segment, Holly. Believe it or not, we're on time. It's amazing.
It's a miracle.
That happens sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and give our introduction. Tonight, we have a tour guide extraordinaire who is
Woo!
also the author of the New Orleans Guidebook to Lee Harvey Oswald. He founded Strange Tours in 2011, which conducts a wide variety of historical and ghost tours in cities such as New Orleans and Richmond, Virginia. This includes his Anne Rice tour and his Lee Harvey Oswald tour. So it is my pleasure and honor to welcome aboard the Star Chamber show for the very first time, Jeffrey Holmes. And Jeffrey, I see that you should be on.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Can
We
hear you
can.
very well.
Oh,
Welcome.
excellent, excellent. I'm doing this on my phone, so my apologies.
No
Oh,
worries. We hear you good.
we're doing it. I'm doing it on my phone. So
All right.
I'm with you.
I got to have
That's
the
why we
full.
love the Podbean app so much, because you literally could do it from your phone. You can sit in the chat room and you could, do all these things and don't need to be in front of a computer.
See, I actually have
Right.
to. I gotta work the show board, so I've got to have
Yeah,
the
he
screen,
has to.
fun stuff. But
Uh,
but
I
but
do
good to
not.
have you. And I'm
Yes.
excited after hearing about a little bit about your adventures last weekend, of course, with Dan and Eva, not Ava, as I said.
It was incredible.
Yes.
Mm,
So
mm.
I want
Well,
to hear
I
about
want to
all
hear
that.
first, how did you get, and then
Mm,
we have to hear about this weekend before we're off. We definitely got to hear about
mm.
this. But how did you get in to tours? What was like your first tour? Was it a ghost tour? Was it
Um,
an interest in paranormal? I mean, what got you into it?
Moving to New Orleans.
Ah, Nolans.
Supposed to be there for 4 days, passing through in a VW camper back in the 90s, and stayed for 30 years.
It'll do that. It'll draw you in.
Oh, yeah. So I eventually got a job as a ghost tour guide. It looked like a fun job. You work a few hours at night, you stop at a bar on the job,
Ah,
you meet girls. It was great.
So
that's
you're talking about
fantastic.
And
spirits and getting a few spirits all in the same job.
yeah.
Nice.
And then from there, it being just such an incredible and fascinating town, and the history is, we
Yeah.
fell backwards into the real history of the city. And my wife has got a history degree, and we just kind of fell into the weird and unusual and strange, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And the ghost tours and all that are just, at this point, a small part of what we do.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, because it sure
Mm,
looks like it. I mean, I was reading over all the things that you're involved in, and
mm.
including the fact that you're an author too, which I think is amazing. But yeah, some of the topic areas, I know Holly's going to want to talk to you about it. But yeah,
Yes, the French Quarter,
yeah,
the
Yeah.
infamous Miss Anne Rice, my
Oh, yeah.
favorite author of all time, next to the old man there, Mr. Stephen Zimmer. But yes, I
Mm,
do love Anne Rice, and she will always hold a special place in my heart for letting my beloved loose,
mm.
Lestat. So yes.
And that's why I went to New Orleans in the first place, because of her books. It was for me, it was
Yes.
the Mayfair witches that grabbed me.
Oh yes.
Her depiction of the Garden District and walking down the sidewalk, and
Mm.
just I felt like I was there, and I'm like, I got to see this.
Yeah,
And
and
there
experience it.
again,
Yes.
yeah. So, are you familiar with her infamous book signing in '95 when she came up to the Garden District bookstore in a coffin and a
Coffin.
horse-drawn
Yes.
hearse? Yeah, I was there.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely blew me
I would
away.
have just died myself. I'm already a vampire, so I guess I'm
Mhm.
already there, but yes. My
Yeah,
little black heart would have been happy.
I'm coming from a suburb in South Florida to that, and was like,
Wow.
"What is this insanity?" And I'm madly in love, and we got to get inside the cemetery. In fact, there's pictures in the Garden District bookstore of that event, and in one of the group shots, I actually found myself in the picture.
Nice. So you are a
And
piece of history forever. Yeah, that
yes,
yes,
and,
that is fantastic. I'll have to go back and look at a few of those, see if I can pick you out. I just it would have been an honor to see that. So have you been to any of the balls?
actually, only one,
One.
and that was interesting in itself, and that's how I met Dacre Stoker.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
At the time, my wife and I, we had a 92 Buick Roadmaster hearse,
Nice.
and we gutted out the back end and stuffed a couch in it and called it a limousine.
Nice.
And then the Ann Rice Ball people called us up and asked if we could, drive Dacre to the event, and we got free tickets to the party. And it was also another author, Gabrielle Faust, who was also with Dacre.
Neat.
So we got to drive both of them to the event, and that's how Dacre and I met. And he comes down to New Orleans all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And then he let me do a YouTube video of him about his traveling, all the different places that he goes.
Which is
And
amazing.
oh god, it is incredible, yeah. And then we moved to Richmond a year and a half ago, and I always wanted to do something with Dacre, but he worked with people down there.
Uh-huh.
There's a vampire lore here in Richmond, and I reached out and I'm like, "Hey, dude, you want to do something?" And he's like, "Sure." Call
Sure.
my friends Dan and Eva, and next thing you know, this whole thing just went nuts.
That is awesome. I
Um,
love Dacre. We had him a couple of years ago as one of our Imaginator guests, and he was just phenomenal. And Dacre's welcome back anytime. And I do chat with him from time to time, especially when he's on his big trips over there in Romania. I live I'm like, oh, Dacre, you're killing me, you're killing me. But yeah. He is a great feller, and I tell you, he did. I love his presentations.
yeah,
Absolutely, just breathtaking. The way he presents things, his passion, his knowledge, um, just just amazing. That he
just
is. He is just amazing human.
inspirational.
Yep. I always get a kick though when he emails Holly and he has a "guess where I am" kind of message, and then he sends Holly a
Yes,
picture with some
he does
castle
that
in the
to me.
background or some mountain
Yes,
scene or some crazy picture that he'll
just
send
where
her.
I'm eating dinner, and I'm like, Taker, you're killing me, man. You're killing me.
Yeah, his next month is absolutely insane.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
But yeah, I would have loved to went. Oh man, I would have loved to went this time. But yes, I do need to get down to Richmond then apparently. So what is
yeah.
some of the lore down there? I mean, I don't
Oh,
know that much about Richmond vampire lore.
most people don't know about Richmond. Not at all. It's always been off the radar. And it's really changing. The whole city, the whole state is just making a transformation. But it's got that the capital of the Confederacy stuff. Just the whole centuries of slavery, which was just horrific. All the slave jails, the Confederate hospitals. But we do have a legend of a vampire, and it comes from an event that happened 100 years ago. The city is full of railroads. That's how the city became what it is. And at one point, they needed to build a track, and the easiest way was to go through the hill. And it didn't work out so well. Lots of collapses, dozens of men died. And on October 2nd, 1925, the tunnel collapsed for the last time. And the locomotive inside, a number of men were killed and trapped and literally buried alive, in Poe's backyard. How ironic.
Wow.
And the story goes, the evening of the collapse, late at night, a couple of men are leaving the pub and heading by the east entrance of the tunnel, which is where men were escaping. And there was a body on the ground, and it looked like a man bent over this body, and they're approaching to assist. And then this man stands up and turns around, and it's some creature with wings hanging from its arms, and its jaw and face is all bloody. So they start chasing after it because it runs away, and they chase it miles all the way up to the Hollywood Cemetery, which enters through this locked iron gate into a mausoleum that goes into the hill. and that was the origins of the vampire Richmond lore. But other things that popped up when they were originally building the tunnel in 1873, they dug up a coffin with a body in it. No clue where the
Uh-huh.
coffin came from.
Mm.
It wasn't registered. This was, after the Civil War. We had documentation of stuff and no clue where this thing came from. Who knows? And
Wow.
the end of the tunnel where the vampire came from is still partially open. There is water in there, but it is very creepy. It is very hidden, and it's possible. You know, you just never know.
Well, Dan, Eva, you ready for another road trip? Let's go. We'll pick up Jeffrey and we'll go. I'm
Well,
ready.
we're
I'm
already
ready.
talking. We're already talking about doing this next year in September because this town goes nuts
Yes.
for Halloween. But
Yes. Let's do this.
maybe doing something in New Orleans in January.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a little tidbit. I haven't heard all about it yet, but I got a little
Yeah,
tidbit.
there's nothing set in stone.
Yeah.
Baker is supposed to be there for an event at the Vampire Cafe. I am going to be in New Orleans touring for several months over the winter, so I will already be there. So Dan and Ava want to coordinate and come on down because I do an Anne Rice tour. And of
Yes.
course, Ava is a huge Anne Rice fan. And I've
Yes.
got some special insight too. And doing the same thing, doing an evening ghost walk with all of them on the tour with us, and just having fun. And that's the whole point of all this is just to go out there and just have a spooky good time.
Yes,
Mm,
that's it, and to love the
mm,
history of it, and
uh,
I always asked Dacre. I asked him on the show one time. I put him on a spot, and I'm like,
mm.
"So, Dacre, do you believe or do you not?" And he's like, "Well, yeah." He never really answered yes or no, but I did put him on the spot, and I'm like, "Well," but I most certainly believe he does believe in a lot of the folklore and
I thought so too. I thought he leaned
yes,
more
yes,
yes.
I always do.
If you listen
But
to his answer that he gave you, he leans yes.
yes, yes, it was very
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't even talk to that ambiguous, but yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely. But I think we all do. I think we want to fantasize that, but if you look, there's lore, vampire lore,
Mm.
all over the world, everywhere from,
Oh, yeah.
one side to another. So there's, with every
Mhm.
lore, there is some truth. So there is
Yeah.
something definitely in there.
It starts with some superstition or fear of the unknown, or an event, or
Yeah.
control of the masses, or something. Or a lot of these stories is control of the children. Every culture has its own little creature that if you do bad things, if you sneak out at night, the French werewolf, the loup-garou, will get you. Here in Richmond, it's the Night Doctor. It was a man that stole cadavers out of the cemeteries late at night for the medical facilities. And that's how they would keep the kids in. If you sneak out at night, the night doctor is going to steal your body out of the ground.
Love it. But
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
have been one of those weird kids have been like, cool. I want to
Mm,
see that. Yeah.
yeah. Because grown-ups never lie to children.
No.
Yeah.
No. Just like the Yule
Mm,
cat. I love the Yule cat story.
yeah. And everybody's got their own, and they're regional, they're
Yes.
ethnical or whatnot, but everybody's got them. It's just we're humans, and a
And we
lot of them
love
are based on
stories,
real.
right?
It's what I do for a living. People pay me
Yes.
to listen to me talk and do stories. It's like,
It's
really? Are
yes.
you kidding me?
People love storytelling.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It,
without having to say, would you like fries with that?
right? It goes back to our days around the fire,
Yeah,
and storytelling. I mean, that's what people
right.
had. That's what our ancestors did. That's how they passed down history.
History.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah,
One generation to another.
the oral traditions from the ancients.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. And all we're doing is just continuing that tradition. Yeah.
Exactly. I love
Oh,
it.
it is
I
fun. It is fun.
But I
Yeah.
love how
so
they're getting deeper into archaeology and other areas now, and they're finding that a lot of the things that were orally passed down, they're finding actual basis for a lot of these things. They find proof for some
Yeah.
things and stories, and so there's
mm-hmm.
there's
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes you really have to listen to stories a little more carefully, I think, because
Yeah.
there's always
What's
a
the
kernel of some
origin
kind of truth
story?
in these myths. There's something at the roots of them all. So that's the fun part.
Yes. Yes, it is. Oh,
And Anne brought them to the forefront and made them, you know, sensual and alluring, and changed a lot of how we feel,
yeah.
and really made them popular
Not
again.
only
And
that, but Anne's books changed lives.
yes, oh yes,
And doing the tour over the years, it was a niche tour, not a big seller like the ghost tours at night in the French Quarter. And a friend of mine still does that tour. And when we go down, I'll introduce you because my friend who does the tour, he bought my
yes,
company. He grew up with Christopher Rice and son.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So he got some very, very close connections there. But Anne was very approachable. She never let that money and fame go to her head. If she had a book signing and it ended at 7 p.m. and there was 150 people still in line out the door, she would sit there until everyone got their book signed. She never forgot where she came from or who she was. And then she had other issues growing up with her mom with alcoholism. She had her own
Mm-hmm.
bout with it as well, and losing her daughter, and
Losing a daughter.
the
Yeah.
stories of the trauma. Um, and one story, if I can tell real quick, was
Please.
a woman who came over her 40th birthday, and she came all the way over from Ireland because her bucket list trip was to go to New Orleans and see the Garden District in Anne Rice's world. So she came out and did the tour, a little private tour, and at the end of the tour, she goes, "Well, let me tell you my story." It was her and her partner, two women,
Uh-huh.
and as young folks, because of their lifestyle, they were ostracized and kind of put out by their family.
Oh,
Never had that true love and everything that a parent should have for their child.
right.
Um, and it led to serious alcoholism. And she said
Mm.
one night in this blackout stupor, doesn't even remember doing this, but sat down and sent off this long, long email to Anne. Came to the next morning, opened up her computer, and Anne responded in great length about her life and her troubles and how she got through it and overcame it and all of this. And it saved this woman's life. That changed everything for her. Just that
Wow.
one moment. And I've had several other stories almost identical to that. Or a story of a young man who was thrown out of his house at the age of 15 by his parents because of his lifestyle. He's homeless, alcohol and drugs, just absolutely horrific, suicidal. And then he read Interview, and that
Uh-huh.
undercurrent little love between Louis and Lestat, it spoke to
Mm.
him. And he went into the world of art, and it led to a career in design and fashion. And I cannot really say who he works for, but it is probably one of the biggest stars that you've seen on stage if you can get a ticket. But it saved
Wow.
his life just reading a damn book. And it's
Mhm.
done that
I,
to how many millions of people.
I could
Yeah.
see that
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
It changed my life, moving to New Orleans because I read a book and I'm like, I got to see what
Yep.
this woman is talking about.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That was always my fascination. My
Mhm.
brother lived in Gulfport, Mississippi for,
Oh, okay.
gosh, decades, and he's passed on now, but yeah, I will always love that place, and I love going down there, and I always, you know, go see New Orleans, and it is just magical. It's hard to explain unless you've been there and experienced it. But the culture, the mixing of cultures, the music, the people, the the history, the lore, I mean, it just draws you in. It's pure magic.
Yeah, it's that gumbo of everything.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
That's exactly it. And then you've got all these different districts which have their own character, stand on their own. They all have, a little different flair. And I love the tours. I did a couple. I was down there in years ago, but yeah, I want to go back so bad. I keep telling Steve I got to go back, and I know
Well,
I've talked to Eva about it, and I'm like, I gotta go back. It's calling me.
I'll be there throughout the winter. I go back and forth. I go down for about 3 weeks or so, and then come back with my family for about a week, and go back down.
Go back.
My friends I stay with, and we have a ton of tours that I do. We are at this point proper historians and have researched all kinds of subjects. You name it, I can do it. You want a full voodoo tour, women's history,
Yes.
Mafia Oswald, Garden District, cemeteries, and we can go on. Bike tour, let's jump on an e-bike and roll. Yeah.
Did you
It's
ever did you ever like do an extra shot or get in the scene when they was doing the Vampire Diaries or the originals? I'm
um,
curious because they were right there, and they went to the cemeteries, and they were all around, and I loved seeing the background to all that.
yeah, the movie industry is huge in New Orleans, and I've been in a ton of stuff, and I've had a lot of celebrities and such on private tours.
Oh
But
yeah.
I wasn't on those two, but on the TV series Mayfair Witches,
Yes.
season one, episode 7, I was 17th century Scottish peasant number 57.
Nice.
Mhm. I'm the guy in brown. Everybody was in brown. It was just a sea of like my wife and I couldn't even find me in the scene, but I was there. But also another not so well known vampire movie is called The Vampire's Assistant. Have you heard
Yes.
of it?
Yes.
Okay, it wasn't that great, and not because of
Yeah.
me. um, but I was a carny in that one, and I did an overnight scene with John C. Riley. I
Nice.
did a lot of scenes at the carnival, the campground where it was. So with Kristen Shaw, John C. Riley, Selma Hayek, Jane Krakowski, Orlando, the guy, the black actor comedian, and a whole bunch of others. It was just surreal and just fun, and that's what I really loved about it was just dressing up and just being there, just being like a fly on the wall and watching all of this magic happen, the creative element behind the scenery and the dialogue and whatnot. Yeah, and that's creativity changes lives.
True. Very
Yeah.
true.
So
I was going to ask you too. Did you ever do stories or tell the history of like the casket girls? That's a whole interesting tale.
yeah, that's a double-sided story between the legend and lore of it and the historical aspect of it, and some information is a little loosey goosey, so there is, room for interpretations, as a lot
Uh
of
huh.
history is, you
Hmm.
know. These stories that were written down were not necessarily 100% accurate, but they make for fun stories.
Right.
It's as I do some of the stories, if we don't know the facts 100%, well, legend has it, stories go, things like that. But again, it's in the storytelling, because sometimes the facts might be a little boring and you embellish it a little bit. Who hasn't, again, sat around a campfire, sat in a bar stool? It's what we do, and
Right.
that's what I enjoy. Yeah.
Well, Eva's asking how much on a tour is true versus made for entertainment by the tour guides. So I kind of
Oh.
choose in here.
That depends on the tour guide. And it can be all over the place. There are guides out there that just literally stop in front of a building and make stuff up. Other tour guides that are accurate on their history, because some of the actual history can be just as gruesome or more gruesome than what you can make up. I know one particular guide, because in New Orleans you have to have a tour guide license and you have to wear it. So what he tells his group is, if the story is true, my license and my picture will be facing towards you. If the story is legend and lore, I will turn my tour guide license backwards. And that's his little telltale heart, because it's, as my daughter says, some of these are campfire stories.
Right.
And some people want to believe, some people enjoy the duality of the truth leading to, the legends, and some people just want to know, the crazy reality that happened. And part of being a tour guide is reading your audience and kind of finding that balance. Which way do they want to go? And entertaining them. Yeah,
It's fun. It
it
is.
really
It's
is.
it's fun. And you really have to enjoy, like you say, the history of it and storytelling. You got to be a good storyteller. You
Yeah.
you know you got to read your audience. You got to, okay, I can embellish here a little bit. They want to have fun and just roll with it on the spot and be impromptu.
Yeah.
I love that. I think
Yeah,
that'd be
and
really neat.
I've read some guides where that this stuff is just total BS, but you're like, you know what? He's doing it really well. This is just fun. Okay, yeah, it's a good story.
Well,
Mm.
Eva's asking if you've ever had a vampire on your tour because sometimes they get curious. And I told her, I said, well,
Nice.
if you haven't, you will when we all go.
I don't know if I've had a real vampire on the tour, but there've been a couple of bloodsuckers, that's for sure. And yeah, definitely plenty of energy vampires, What was
Oh,
it
yeah.
calling, What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes, Collins.
Like,
Yes.
come on,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll always have one of those on a group tour. Always.
Oh, man. I tell you, that would be rough. That would be rough.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Give him six
Ooh.
beers because he downed a few at the bar stop in between the tour.
Right.
Shot
Uh-huh.
for the tour guide. Here, come on. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
let me do my story first, okay? Uh,
Well, what?
but it's always an adventure. You never know what you're gonna run into or what's gonna happen while you're on a tour.
Mhm.
No tour
Yeah.
exactly alike, and I think that's part of the adventure and the thrill of it as well. You're on the streets of the French Quarter. It's dark out.
Mhm.
You've got those little creepy buildings and whatnot. Have you all been there?
Yes. Oh, I
Okay,
have.
good.
I've
Yes.
been a long time, but I've been once. Yeah, down there.
Yes.
All right, all
Mhm.
right. Well, we'll
Oh,
have to maybe get you guys down with the whole group and do some
yes.
group stuff.
Yeah.
Take it to cemeteries and
Oh, that'd be
teach you the
fun.
real stuff. Yeah. My wife's
Yes, I am all aboard for this.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But I was going to ask you, as a storyteller, and you raised an interesting point. You do get a different audience, pretty much with every single tour. And you mentioned that, yeah, there are some Colin Robinsons in some groups, and you have different kinds of personalities. What are the biggest challenges for you in adapting to these different kind of groups? Do you have to, yeah, stylistically, or what do you do to adapt to like a more outgoing group versus a more maybe introverted one? I mean, what are your challenges as a
Oh,
storyteller?
God. Well, first of all, you have so many different dynamics.
Yeah.
Um, especially doing a tour in the South.
Oh yeah.
You get some people that are politically charged one way or the other. I did a tour here in Richmond in the cemetery a few weeks ago, and the guy basically he goes, I just want to see the Confederate stuff. Like, okay. So you have to know history all over the place, but yeah, you have some people that just you have to read their reactions.
Hmm.
Always in a tour, I'm very personable, and I always like to get chatty with them and try and figure out who they are, what are they looking for, is there anything in particular that you want to see on this tour? What's your flavor? And a conversation can go a long way. A
Hmm.
polite, friendly conversation, because everybody has a middle point or a meeting ground. No matter who it is in this planet, there's something that we have in common, can go, okay, even if it's just a good meal or some good music. And
Right.
decades of working in the service industry, of waiting on tables and bartending, certainly doesn't hurt.
No, not at all. Yeah.
It's that reaction, and and you read them, even to the point of, how are they dressed? Are they dressed conservative? Are they coming up with blue hair and tattoos? Are they chatty as they come walking up? Are they going to talk over you? And you got to like start setting some little boundaries. Tour guide, right here. Listen up.
Hmm.
So it's always a challenge, and every now and then somebody will throw you. And the other factor of being on the streets of the French Quarter, it's full of drunks stumbling past your group.
Naked people, drunks. I mean,
Oh, yes, naked people. Oh my God. Um, Funny story, if I may.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
We do a strange tour. It's an adult history tour. And we do a special version once a year for the little swingers convention. And one time on a tour, it is 4:45 in the afternoon, and it was a tour for this convention. And we're standing outside of the federal courthouse, and a woman on the tour just goes, "Do you mind if I take my shirt off?" I'm like, It doesn't bother me," and just
Knock yourself out.
whoa, shirt off, topless, broad daylight. Judges and lawyers are coming out of the courthouse, and here I am. I'm having to remember my story and my dates and my facts, and still maintain this, while this is 5 feet in front of me with a group of 12 people. It's like, oh my God, how do I get through this? How do I, uh, eye contact, eye contact, eye contact? So
Cities
there's
of flopping free. This is hard to do. Yes.
yeah, to seeing guns pulled out on a tour from across the street or something. So yeah, keeps you on your toes. Richmond's a
Yeah.
lot more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say yeah, fewer variables. There.
Yeah, yeah. But
That is funny.
you just have to learn how to roll with it, and go, and just not let the crap bother you, because everyone's there to
Yeah.
have fun, and you can flip it around to have that fun, and make a joke out of it, because people are people.
Hmm.
And if you're there to have a good time, you've had a couple of cocktails, and let's roll with this, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's enjoy this. So, have you thought about writing a book about stories of all your tales like that, things that have happened to you
Yeah.
on the tours.
Not so. My wife is saying yes, so maybe I've missed that conversation. She has
You should.
apparently.
You should.
Yeah.
I'm also
That'd
a
be a
tour.
fun,
I have stuff outlined.
that'd be a
Yeah,
fun
There you
book.
go.
yeah,
It
she's
would
an old
be.
tour guide too. So
You
Yeah,
yeah,
guys
that
could
would.
do it. You could write it together, co-write.
Yeah.
yeah, we've got some ideas. We've been bopping around and such, but we've been getting the tour going because that's where the money is at the moment.
Yep.
It's
Right.
yeah, and it's just we enjoy a live audience. There's just
Hmm.
something about being on stage with a live group and getting that reaction. And then sometimes you bomb and you're like, oh boy, okay, I read that wrong.
Oops.
Um,
Yeah.
Oops.
yeah, but it's you feel alive, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
Perfect sense.
yeah,
Perfect sense.
elements of
yeah,
theater and yeah, storytelling and all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
yeah.
Absolutely. But
Hmm.
but we've been talking vampires, but and now Holly brought up the idea of books, but you have one, the New Orleans Guidebook to Lee Harvey Oswald, and you are regarded as, an
Yeah.
expert on Lee Harvey Oswald. Speaking of history and books and New Orleans, so yeah, tell us a little bit about that side of it.
Okay, that was a weird one that I fell into backwards because somebody I knew who knew the members of the New Orleans Mafia back in the 60s turned me on to a book about the death of Dr. Mary Sherman, a very prominent scientist in the United States in the late 50s and 60s. Her death is very mysterious to this day. We have an idea. Um, and that led to another book, which led to another book, and it led me down the rabbit hole. So let me just give you one little snippet to blow your mind here.
Yeah.
Y'all ever seen the Oliver Stone movie JFK?
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. It is extremely accurate. And I mean extremely. And there are things in that movie that the people who put the movie together don't know what they found. So
Uh-huh.
there is the character David Ferry, played by Joe Pesci. David Ferry was a real man. He was an airlines pilot for Eastern Airlines. He flew for the CIA. He flew for the mafia. When he passed away, and Jim Garrison, the district attorney of New Orleans, found his deceased body in his apartment, they discovered medical equipment, laboratory mice, and talked about his interest in cancer research. The district
Ah.
attorney accidentally stumbled upon a secret CIA biological weapons laboratory trying to create a cancer virus to kill Castro. This laboratory was overseen by Dr. Alton Oxner, the president of the American Cancer Society. He was at a medical conference in St. Petersburg, Florida in the winter of 1962-63. And at that conference, an 18-year-old high school senior named Judith Very got into the conference, had a conversation with Dr. Oxner, convinced him to go to her high school in Bradenton, Florida. He went. She was causing cancer to grow in her laboratory mice in a span of 7 days. President of the American Cancer Society says, young lady, you have a gift. You're doing something that I can't do. Gave her a scholarship to Tulane University in New Orleans, brought her up there, and they played on her sense of patriotism and put her to work in this secret laboratory. You love your country. Communism is bad. We kill Castro.
Hmm.
Communism is, and wave a flag and all that fun stuff. And if we can
Propaganda.
figure out, oh man, yeah, if we can figure out how to create a cancer virus, we can figure out how to cure it.
Hmm.
Her husband works in the oil industry offshore. He's gone for a week and a half at a time, back for 3 days, gone for a week and a half. She's alone. They assign her an Office of Naval Intelligence agent to be her handler, watch over her, keep her safe. They were hired on the same day, at the same time, by the same man at the Riley Coffee Company. In the summer of 1963 in New Orleans, they fell in love and had a secret love affair. And that man, that agent, was Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh.
This woman
Wow.
is still alive. I have known her since October 18th, 2011, when I flew to Toronto to meet her for the first time. We've had her in New Orleans. She stayed in my house. It's mind-boggling.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been at a few conferences in Dallas. She's been in New Orleans on a number of occasions. We have a conference there. She's written a number of books. And just to add to all of this, was about 2.5, 3 years ago. She was in New Orleans with a documentary film crew, and they were doing this whole thing on cancer and viruses and medical stuff. So we went pulling up to David Ferry's original apartment where that secret laboratory was. Big black SUV. It was like 6 people get out. There's cameras, a guy with a microphone, and we're in this front yard, just coming right into the yard. And the guy in the apartment comes out on his balcony. He's in his boxer shorts, and he looked like he just woke up. And he was like, "Who are you guys? What are you guys doing?" And Judith, she goes, "Well, I'm Judith Baker, and this apartment used to be David Ferry, and he's connected with this." And the guy goes, "Yeah, I know the story. I've read the book. Goes, y'all want to come on up? The apartment smells like weed, but come on up." So next thing you know, we're all in this guy's little apartment, and he sleeps. His bed is in the exact spot where David Ferry died.
Wow.
So we've been in there for a while, and they're filming all over the kitchen and all this. And after it's all over, we're all sitting in the living room, and this guy's like, telling his little story. He's like, "Yeah, I've been in here for a couple of years in this apartment," and he goes, "The crazy thing is there's a ghost in here, and I see this guy here, and I see him in the bedroom, and I see him here," and he starts to describe the man. His height, his weight, his clothes, his hat, everything. And Judith just all of a sudden just like jumps up and goes, "That's David. You're describing David Ferry." We found the ghost of David Ferry in his apartment.
Wow.
Yeah, all these decades later. And he's still there in the apartment where he died. Yeah. And just to freak you out, Jack Ruby, who actually worked for the New Orleans Mafia, was in New Orleans all the time. Jack Ruby and Oswald knew each other, had conversations at a club on Bourbon Street. How did Jack Ruby die? He told his prison guard that, "I can't talk here. I'm not safe. The guy up north, he knows what's happened." And he told his prison guard, "They injected me with a cancer virus." And Jack Ruby died of a rapidly accelerating cancer while in jail in Texas.
Wow. That is a tangled web.
Yeah,
And that's
definitely.
just one part of it. One part of it. Yeah. There was a right-wing propaganda machine that dropped leaflets out of villages in South America to propaganda LPs, and it's deep. It's deep. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
because back then, I mean, the CIA was just as much mob as anybody. They.
we'll have to have these conversations in person.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
It's about all
true.
I can say from that.
Oh,
Otherwise,
we
I'll
could
have
go
to
on and on. I
kill
love these. I love these rabbit holes, these deep dives.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's crazy when you get to looking into things, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
We have these conversations at the house quite often. These deep dives.
There was a death cult in New Orleans in the late '60s, and
Yes.
somehow connected to Charles Manson and the son of
Yep.
Sam.
Yep.
Yeah, the Church of the Final Process. Yes, look it up. Look it up. So yeah, it's got it all. So I'm enjoying Richmond. It's nice and quiet. It's a little more relaxed. We have all the weird stuff, but it's not on the front porch.
Right.
Right.
Right. It's not everywhere,
Yeah,
Yeah, at least you can get
we
away
probably
from it.
understand.
But you do have a lot of ghosts there. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on during the Civil War, Do you get any to that? Because Stephen was wondering about that earlier. We talked about that. Do you get any like inner? Do you go to like what do they call them? The inner where they act out the reenactments.
Reenactment.
Oh,
I'll get it out in a minute. My fibro brain,
no,
but yeah, the reenactments. Do you ever go to any of those or
I don't do
check
that
those
too
out?
much. I did some of the ones in New Orleans with the Battle of New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
But here, you've got over 150 years of colonial history, and
Yep.
then you've got all the revolutionary history,
Yeah.
and the history of slavery is centuries old from the very beginning, and that's where the gruesome stuff comes from. You want horror? Oh my God! I mean, that is just it makes a battlefield, look like a Sunday picnic. It really does.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's where kind of the deep dive that I get into. We had people that stole body parts and stole cadavers. Instead of just killing people, no, they're stealing.
Hmm.
So it's macabre. It's stuff. My tour is adults only. I can't have kids on it. It'll make the little children have nightmares. Yeah.
Unless you get children like I was, and I have some
Like Holly.
grandchildren that are
Yeah.
they are right on board. Yeah, we've got
Yeah,
one. I've
that's
got
kinda good
one
too.
granddaughter named Raven, and Raven, we used to call her a little spooky when she was real little. She's 11 now, but we used to call her a little spooky because she just come up out of nowhere, and here she'd be. You turn around, I've knocked her down. I don't know how many times because she's so tiny and I'm a giant. So yeah, it's
Yep.
she's so funny though, but she loves to read spooky books and all this stuff. So yeah, she would love it.
And her name is an Edgar Allan Poe reference.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, that's she was named
Yeah,
after Raven.
yeah. I
Yeah.
actually live directly across the street from the Poe Museum in Richmond.
Oh,
Yes.
fantastic!
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you're killing me.
technically,
That's her.
technically,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
I
her.
am the only person in the United States, probably the world, that does an Anne Rice tour in New Orleans and a Poe tour in Richmond.
Oh my god,
Those are her top two authors. I mean,
my
yeah,
two
Poe
favorite authors.
and Rice. Yeah.
Oh,
Come to Richmond. I'll take you to the cemeteries where several of the women he wrote poems about are buried, where his
ooh,
mom's buried, the back alleys that he stumbled down.
oh
The
wow.
building where he used to write, the Southern Literary Messenger, is now a strip club.
No way. Oh my.
That they
What?
created. Yeah. Yeah. It's a dive bar,
Wow.
but it's a strip club nonetheless.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I'm sure
God.
Poe would have liked it. Nice and sleazy. Yeah.
That is awesome. Oh, and there's a ghost cat. According to Eva, she said there's a ghost cat at the Poe Museum.
Yes, yes, that's
Oh,
Pluto, who passed away recently in November. One of the two
oh,
cats that lived on the premises. Edgar is still there, and they got a new one, Tebbs. So, but
oh.
they're
Wow.
museum cats. Yeah, you can go to the museum and just sit there and play with the cats half the day until they
Oh,
get
Oh
sick
wow.
and walk away. Because cats do that.
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, we
we
know.
have a house. Yes, we
We
have
have a house
three.
full of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
We know that well. But that's fascinating. Well,
it really
for our listeners though, who are getting intrigued by either the idea of finding one of your tours in Richmond or in New Orleans, how does one go about getting in
Scheduling one.
contact with you and scheduling
Yeah.
one or finding out about these?
Um, In Richmond, we are strangerva.com or strangerva.com, however you want to call it. Yeah. And in New Orleans, we are strangetruetours.com.
Strange True Tours.
True Tours.
Yeah. And strangerva.com in Richmond. RVA stands for Richmond, Virginia.
And so, do you I'm guessing you schedule private tours with people, but because you mentioned that, but you also have like events that people can sign up for from the public.
Yeah.
Like
In Richmond, we have the ghost tour every night. And my wife does some tours, history tours in the daytime, which I do as well. And she's historianjane.com. But in New Orleans, strangetruetours.com is run by my buddy Christopher Tidmore. And he's also connected to the Garden District Bookstore, Anne Rice's second home.
Oh.
And he does the Lee Harvey Oswald tour and the Anne Rice tour, and he does private tours on any subject you want. And I'm available for private tours in Richmond on most subjects. New Orleans, I can do just about any subject. And we go back and forth. I'm in New Orleans mostly in the winter, and Richmond in the spring, summer, and fall. So it beats working in a cubicle.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
And you get to meet all kinds of people.
Oh, it is incredible. From movie stars and rock stars, and I've had well over a dozen New York Times bestselling authors, to just the average person who's, coming from Wisconsin, who it's a once in a lifetime experience for them. And I think I enjoy those more than the celebrities, because the joy and passion, and it's like, I know they're going to go home and talk about this for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And that's really something. Yeah.
Yeah, because once you experience it, that's what said when you leave New Orleans, you take a piece of it with you,
Yeah.
and you always long for it.
Yep, and that little spark of joy. Everybody's got some little story that they'll talk about their entire life, about that one moment that thing happened to them. And I like being that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's what we do. We love to have you. Or Richmond.
Or
Well, I know
both. Yes.
I was introduced to jazz through New Orleans, so I mean, and I love music, so there's always something special about it.
Oh yeah, I have found the grave of Dr. John, and I can take you there.
Nice.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. Princess Tiana. But we know where the graves are. I know where the bodies are.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So do you ever do like any paranormal tours where like do you get into like the ghost tours to where you go with like a lot of the ghost hunters? And
we did some of that down in South Florida, Lauderdale. We worked with the museum down there in downtown Fort Lauderdale for a while.
Uh-huh.
And what April Rain was her name or something, and then we did a couple things with Dead X Radio.
Cool.
But that's not really my wheelhouse so much.
Yeah.
Well, what about occult history in New Orleans? Because there's a lot of that down there. Yeah, as far as the cult practices and things like that.
Cult, you have witch stories, but you have the real witch queen, Mary Onita Toops. Don't know if you're familiar with the name.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with the name then?
You're referring to Queen. What does she call herself? Mary. Stephen, she was a guest. I'm talking about the lady that she owns a Victorian house down there. Bloody Mary. Do you know Bloody Mary?
Oh, I know Bloody Mary. Yeah. No, back in 1972, a woman named Mary Onita Toops.
That sounds familiar.
And she got the first legal license for the Church of Witchcraft in Louisiana, second legal Church of Witchcraft in the United States. And she opened up a shop in the French Quarter, and her partner was Dr. John, the famous musician.
Nice.
Huh.
And then
I didn't realize that.
I didn't either.
In fact, she's even mentioned in his book, Under the Hoodoo Moon. She mentions Mary and her partner, Boots Toops. And she wrote a book, Magic High and Low, her witchcraft book, which is, if you can find an original copy, they can run anywhere from $500 to $1,000.
Wow.
There is a thing at the moment I'm not really going to get into about the book, but I have been very good friends with the only living descendant of Mary Onita Toops in New Orleans. Yeah, we've worked together in restaurants, and we still communicate and get together when I'm down there. So there's stuff going on. When we see each other in person, I'll tell you the whole story.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
But
Yes.
Definitely.
I have been more a studier of voodoo and the African religion. I got into it in South Florida way back in the 80s. I've also been in the art world and worked with a woman who went to Haiti and brought art back from there. And so I got into it that way. So that's my wheelhouse when it comes to religion or spirituality or anything like that. I've worked with some experts, and I can do a proper voodoo tour in New Orleans. A practitioner. So that's more my end as opposed to, say, paganism or witchcraft or stuff like that. Yeah, and my wife's, yes, true, yeah. So when we met each other, we each already had a background in it. She used to work with a very well-known voodoo ungon in Miami, who is very well-known in Haiti, and me in New Orleans. So yeah, like I said, we'll have some fun when y'all come to New Orleans. Like I said,
Fantastic.
tell you the truth about Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen, and what she
Yes, I'd love to hear your tales on Marie.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've looked into a lot of stuff on Marie Laveau, and I've always, well, I was born a witch, always will be a witch, but yes, and so I love hearing the history of hoodoo. I mean, it's fascinating. That
Yes,
whole voodoo, yeah, it's
and
fascinating.
going into it, I ended up following the That's how I got into studying the history of the slave trade. Was how
Yeah.
did these religions end up getting here, and the differences, and just
Yeah.
mind-boggling. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because a
can
lot of them were slaves or descendants of slaves, that come from South America
Yeah.
Or
or,
Africa.
Haiti and
Africa.
Jamaica and yeah,
Yeah. It's complicated. It's
it is.
so complicated. You're like you're like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the chart, and the lines going everywhere.
Uh-huh.
I love that show. I love that show.
Yeah, you need the board. You need the whole board and the yarn and the pins.
Yeah.
It's how to solve a murder,
Yeah.
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 Oh
It's
man.
deep, and there's a lot to it. And once you really get into it, it's like peeling away the layers of an onion.
It is.
And it's easy to see how these legends and lores and misunderstandings can grow into this fiction.
Well, yeah, and you've got so many characters involved,
Yep.
intertwined.
Yeah. So, and
Very
All
fast.
right.
doing the stories.
Yes,
Well,
you'll have to come up to Imaginarium. We got to
we want
get you
to
up
get down
here and tell some
here too.
stories.
Tell some stories.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
But
I have already discussed that because it might be a good place for her book.
Yes,
And that's
you guys would have a blast.
yeah, her
I
book
think we
is
would.
a real history book about an incident between two burlesque dancers on Bourbon Street in 1949.
Oh my God, I've got to
Yeah,
hear this one now. Yes, we're going to have your wife as a guest on the show,
yeah.
and we're going to have to deep dive into this now. So,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
definitely. I've got
It's
to
called,
hear this.
it's called The Axe Woman of Bourbon Street.
Nice.
Yes.
Two
That's
women,
cool.
one stage, one axe.
I love it. I love it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Well, see,
Yeah.
you
Well,
you come up to Imaginarium. We can drink bourbon, and you can tell us the stories in person. Yeah,
yeah. And then we'll
Yeah,
come down to New Orleans and see you there and drink bourbon and tell
yeah.
more stories.
yeah, we're talking about your event in July already and making
I
plans to
I have
get
an
there.
interest in classical burlesque and as well as modern contemporary burlesque, but the classical era burlesque is
Oh,
really
yeah.
really good to the costuming.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Beautiful,
Oh
beautiful.
yeah.
I know a few. I have a few friends that are burlesque dancers. So, yeah,
Excellent. Good. All right,
yeah,
we'll all meet up in New Orleans.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
and we'll
yeah.
go from there.
Eva says, "Someone say bourbon." Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And burlesque. Moon says, yes, and burlesque.
yeah, yeah. It's all
That's good.
Both
Oh
uh,
fun.
yeah.
Well, is there anything that we have not touched on that you would like to mention before we sign off of here?
we have covered a lot.
We have.
For those of you that are listening, um, buy books, support your local authors, support your library system,
Hmm.
and your local bookstore. And when you go take a tour in a town, find a local. I
Mhm.
hate to say this, but avoid the big national companies, the chain companies.
Yep.
Find the mom and pop, people that live there and have really dug up the stories, the locals, because that's who
Exactly.
we all are. Yeah. And it keeps us all going. And you're going to get a much better experience, much better service. And when you're going with a true local and it's their business, they're going to treat you like a friend.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. You're just a new friend that they're showing around their town.
It's the
So that,
same way with restaurants. Go
yeah,
local. Don't do
yeah,
the
Hmm.
chains.
yeah. Or even the authors, the
Yep.
entertainers. They're fantastic.
Hmm.
There's so much talent on the streets of the French Quarter,
Oh,
and the rest
yeah.
of the world doesn't know it yet. That's all.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
true.
Well, I
Uh-huh.
want to thank you so much for joining us tonight because I've had a blast and I really look forward to meeting you in person.
Yes,
That's gonna be
Oh,
great.
really fun.
It is.
Don't you worry.
But but for now, I'll turn it over to Holly to close out with you. But you're definitely welcome back in the show in the future, and looking forward to yeah, adventures yeah, in the future as well.
yes. Ventures ahead, and we're
Yeah.
gonna chit chat with your wife soon.
Yes.
He's a pistol. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Well, I am
Nice.
too, so we'll get along
Yep.
famously.
Good, good, good. All right. Well, I'm
But
going to
you
go
have a
ahead and.
great evening, and thank you for being such a wonderful guest
Oh,
and
my
covering
pleasure.
as
My
much as
pleasure.
we did and sharing your
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. We all take care of each other, and and that's what it is. And we keep on going, baby. We keep on going.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. The way it should be. Good night, hon.
Head to bed. All right.
Thank you. Okay, listener land, join us next Wednesday, same place, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Another great guest, another great chat for the rest of the week. Be creative. Good night, all.